Dusty. Anywho, just jumping right on back in. Oh my god. Oh no, it's working. Oh, it's dustier than I thought. Welcome back. So I hope that you had as fun a summer as I did. I went to the beach. It's been fun. And through the summer we did Inferno, and I've learned many things from doing Inferno. Least of which, try not to do things with a whole lot of slides of text if your video editor does not have word wrap. But as I was getting back into the swing of doing stuff on YouTube, I happened across this video from the Codex Cantina, which is 7 questions to get to know you Booktube tag. I'll link their video up there. Thus far, everything has been classic literature related. I was like, hey, it's a fun thing to jump back in before we get into, you know, the serious content where people are dead and dying all the time, because classic literature is kind of very overdue, I think, in some senses, and also is bound to be even more rambly and hard to edit than usual, so I'm very excited about that. Question 1, what is your channel about? Well, my tagline is classic literature without the class, and I feel like that is a very good microcosm of exactly what my channel is. It's classic literature, but we are outside the classroom, so it is a lot less formal, a little bit more irreverent, as evidenced by the other meaning of the word class. I like puns, I like just having fun with something that's not always necessarily thought of as being fun. We will read a piece together, like a read aloud, and then we will talk about it. I am planning on doing a few more like explainer type videos, because I will frequently say things like, oh, blah blah blah, a sonnet, and then just keep it rolling and not really explain what a sonnet is. But yeah. 2, what is my recording process? I intend on doing a much longer video on this because I feel like my process is unique and a little bit, I don't want to say weird because it's not weird, but unique. Unique is good. The main organizing software that I use right now for the channel is called Notion, and it basically takes a backbone of like an Excel spreadsheet and allows you to organize it in different ways. You can organize it with just like very easily like click through without using formulas and stuff like that. I like my stuff organized much more visually than just, you know, a spreadsheet. So I can sort things more visually and see what I have coming up a lot more easily than if I just used a spreadsheet. I always do a full face of makeup because I have a background in theater, and so it puts me in, you know, performing for the camera mode, but also because when I first started out doing face content, even before this channel, my camera super sucked. So it was the same idea as like you put on your theater makeup so that the people can see your face. It was the same idea. To actually record, this is where we get a little bit into the weeds of weirdness. I actually sit at my desk because I'm using my DSLR camera as a webcam via OBS. See, there's a funny wrinkle with video cameras, like standalone with like a battery pack and like the little tiny fuzzy mic. They are far more expensive than a DSLR for a number of reasons. Mostly like there's like legal tariff, oh, if you want to sell that in the EU, blah 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 kind of reasons. But video cameras are more expensive, but the guts of a DSLR and the guts of a DSLR video camera are almost identical. So what they do is they put in like a software limiter where after you record for 20 to 25 minutes, the camera just shuts down. And it's just within the camera. But if you use the software package from Canon to hook your DSLR up to your computer, you can record as long as you want. And if you're recording an audiobook that takes, 45 minutes to record, and then you're also recording analysis on top of that, then you kind of need to record for more than 20 minutes at a time. So what I do is I record via OBS, which is a streaming software. I use my Blue Yeti microphone, which is not the best mic in terms of audiobook stuff, but it is a plug and play USB. I don't need an audio interface like a Scarlett or something like that. And then I record. When I edit, I use another free software called DaVinci Resolve, which is just as fully featured as something like Sony Vegas, but it is a little clunkier. You can actually pay and then get some things like presets or like LUTs or I think filters, but I don't really have a whole lot of use for that. So outside of books, what are your hobbies? I do my nails pretty frequently. Makeup might kind of sort of a hobby. I do vegetable gardening. I don't really do a whole lot of floral gardening, but I love, it's so satisfying to just grow your own food. I don't know what it is. My brain likes it. I love music, just kind of in general. I played the oboe for a super long time, and I was in the marching band. I played piccolo and flute. I also love musicals, like not just, the Hamiltons of it all, but also like Sondheim and things like that. Like I said a little bit earlier, I started off in doing theater, including musical theater, so I've always really enjoyed that. But my core hobby, I would say even before like books and literature, my core hobby is actually gaming. The reason why I started this channel was because over the pandemic, I was live streaming and I didn't want to double dip because I was a contracted content creator. I was okay to stream, but creating content like video content or photo content around these games was kind of like a little tricky to untangle. So I was just like, you know what? We're gonna do literature. I'm still a writer and editor for blizzardwatch.com, so I do a lot of stuff with Overwatch and Diablo 4, obviously the new hotness. I've been playing a lot of Hearthstone Battlegrounds. I think I actually mentioned that in a video on Hemingway, but I write the weekly Q&A column there on Tuesdays. Also, if you want to visit me, there's literally an NPC named after me in World of Warcraft. Like, no, really. If you want to know my favorite game right now, it's The Long Dark, because it's just a vibe. It's so easy to immerse yourself. Or, what book title best describes the life you'd like to lead? A Room of One's Own. Get Out. 5. If you could grab a drink with any literary figure, who would it be? So when I was reading this, I was like, Hemingway, obviously. If anybody knows how to get you f***ed up, it's Hemingway. And who doesn't like a mojito? But then I was thinking about it a little bit more, and I was like, you know what? It would be really fun to get like Jane Austen or one of the Brontes just completely sloshed. Can you imagine Thoreau stumbling around Walden Pond? But in the spirit of the question, who would you like to pal around with, catch a couple drinks with? I think that my answer would be Willa Cather and Sarah Orne Jewett. Like, maybe we could have like a salon together. That would be so fun, because they're both kind of, I don't want to say rough around the edges, but because they have that American literary regionalism background, it's all tied up in that kind of not as pretentious as your Edith Wharton's type thing. And they were friends, so I could be the third wheel there. It's kind of a cop-out, but it's my channel. I can do what I want. 6. If the world was going to end in 1 year, what books do you need to read? So for me, this question's interesting because as I was thinking about it, there's a huge difference in like if I were going to die, or like a meteor hits the earth in 1 year. If I were going to die, but the trajectory of human civilization would continue forward, I feel like I would spend a lot of time reading. Like, I think that I would do the whole like, oh, those books that I keep intending to get around to, but they're too intimidating, so I'll leave them till later. I did read Ulysses as a part of one of my projects in college, but I haven't read Finnegan's Wake, so I feel like that would definitely be on my list. There are a bunch of books that discuss, dying and what happens after you die and things like that, not necessarily in a, spiritual sense, but in a real sense, like As I Lay Dying by Faulkner, which I think I have it behind me. But if a meteor was hurtling through space toward Earth and all of civilization was going to end, I'm not reading anything. I'm not gonna say what I'm gonna do, because I feel like I've already used my one F-bomb with Hemingway back there, but I think you get the gist. 7. With unlimited funds and scientific breakthroughs, necromancy. What book would you make sure had a sequel? This one, to me, has one clear answer, and it is Jane Eyre. We'll set aside Wide Sargasso Sea for a minute, but it wasn't written by Bronte, and it's not really in the vein of what I would like to see from Jane Eyre 2. I would like to see more Jane Eyre, not necessarily because I want to read the rest of it, but because the book ends with "Reader, I married him," and we're left with, spoilers for Jane Eyre, I guess, but we're left with Jane and Mr. Rochester. They've got each other, but what else do they have? Like, what are their day-to-day struggles going to be? What is Jane's life going to look like? What's Mr. Rochester's life going to look like from here on forward? They kind of yada 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 a happily ever after, but Jane never says that it's actually happy. So I would be really interested to see what happens to those characters after the end of that book. So if you enjoyed these 7 questions, make your own. Use hashtag Booktube tag, I think it is. Editing Anna will put it up on screen somewhere. Editing Anna's the brains of the operation. I've also linked the Codex Cantinas video down below and up in a card at some point to show you the way, I guess, because they seem a lot more organized and on the ball than I am. And next week, we're going to be back with some stories. One of my big struggles with filming is that I never know how to finish a video. It just kind of anticlimactically ends. Like, I feel like I should say goodbye or whatever, but then it's just...